Hey everybody, I am at the Louisiana Capitol once again with some of my favorite representatives. Of course, I say they're all my favorite, but some more than others. Representative Owen, thank you so much for being on here with me today. I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you for being here, Mr. Wallace. Good to be with you again.
Well, I tell you, we'll see how much time we have to ask some of the other important questions, but I want to talk about your legislation, coming up. I got it pulled up here. You got House Bill 49. Can you explain to us what 49 is?
No, I can't. What's the description there?
49 provides relative to transcription fees charged by court reporters on the 36.
Oh, okay. And so hold on. I've got two bills that are very similar to that. I forget the numbers, 49 and one something, but I have two. They're local bills for back in the city of DeRidder, or back in the parish of Vernon and Beauregard, where the judges want the authority to pay their court reporters what they want. Apparently they hadn't had a pay raise since the 70s, and Louisiana law is so silly and arcane they have to come here and ask us to ask for permission to raise their pay. So the judges in the 36th and the 30th judicial districts have asked me to change the law to give them authority to pay their court reporters what they need. That's what it is.
That's an easy.
It's very simple.
And you made a good point on talking about the numbers of bills and how sometimes it's hard to keep up with it.
Yeah.
Because I know that upstairs they change the numbers, they put different numbers on, they run the legislation on. It kind of moves things around on you. That's why I got this pulled up. So HB 138 provides relative to administrative education. Adjudication of certain ordinance violations in the city of DeRidder.
Yeah, the wonderful city of DeRidder. It's over on the Sabine River in Beauregard Parish. They're a wonderful, rapidly growing and forward-thinking city. And state of Louisiana has laws that restrain them as to what they can do code enforcement with. And it's a function of their population. Larger cities kind of have it easier to do code enforcement than smaller cities. And DeRidder basically asked me to come down here and say, let us have the same rules that places like Monroe and Alexandria have, because we're trying to clean up a lot of blighted areas. We need the authority to move in quicker and to clean things up. And so their mayor came here 2 weeks ago. Her name's Misty Clanton. She drove all the way over here and addressed the House Municipal Affairs Committee, and it sailed straight through. So DeRidder's going to get to manage their own stuff, which again I think is crazy they have to ask to, but there you go.
Well, I like the fact that you're involved in your area enough to be able to hear these people's needs and hear the area's needs, so that way you can take care of it when y'all go into session.
Absolutely, it's a team effort.
Thank you for that. HB 193 provides relative to transcription fees charged by court reporters in the 30th district.
That's the one we just talked about. That's the same with 49. The 30th is in Vernon Parish, the 36th in Beauregard Parish. Same things, just giving the judges authority to pay their court reporters more.
Okay. We got House Bill 219 provides relative to the application for federal student aid with respect to the Taylor Opportunity Program for students.
Yep. Well, Louisiana has this thing called Top Scholarship,
right,
where bright students who have achieved are given a chance to have their tuition paid. And I found out 10 years ago when my first kid went to school that I was filling this out for this Louisiana scholarship that they were forcing me to fill out a federal student aid form. I spent hours going through this federal student aid form.
The FAFSA thing? Oh my gosh,
so
it's a nightmare.
I'm thinking, why is this any of their business? This is Top is a state scholarship. It's none of the federal government's business what my kid gets from Baton Rouge. So It made me mad. The second year I had to do it, I called my state legislator. And at the time, we were living in Benton at the time. And he called me back and he said, well, that's the law and that's just the way it is. And I said, well, I don't like it. He said, well, change the law. So here I am. So we're going to change this. I've been working with people at Regents, at to call the LAFSA office, to make sure that families are not forced to fill out this federal form when they get their Louisiana scholarship. It's really a privacy thing.
Exactly.
It's none of the federal government's business. Now, FAFSA's great. People need to see how much federal aid's out there, but if you don't want it, if you don't want it, I don't want them to have to do it.
This is amazing. I am so glad that you're doing it, because as a parent, I remember when I had to fill out the FAFSA. And you have nightmares.
It is. It's silly.
And sweating and all that other stuff about it.
Right.
We got 291 provides for visitation policies at certain healthcare facilities and requires that such policies allow for the person. Well, you know what that one is.
That bill is my most important bill of the year for me, because it provides for no patient being left alone to die again. During COVID, we went off the rails and hospitals closed and people were forced to give birth, to have health events, and to suffer and die alone in hospitals. And hospitals got cruel. Hospice people, people just went too far in that. And my opinion is, if a doctor or a cook or a custodian or a nurse can walk in from outside into that house, then your wife could walk into that hospital and be with you when you're sick.
That's a great idea.
Every patient will have at least one person who can come in with them at all times, regardless of what's ever going on. No more Louisianians dying alone. That's what that's about.
I love this. Thank you so much for that one.
I'm honored to do it.
I tell you what, because if it happens again, we know it may happen again. Federal government and businesses can't.
We don't need to be cruel.
I love this. That's a good one. So 315 provides relative to administration of public schools. Provides
that's kind of an omnibus bill that I'm working on to try to take some weight off of the school districts, to try to take some things away from them that are not education related. Over time, we have been putting things on the shoulders of our teachers and our school folks that I don't think are education related, and it's kind of an omnibus bill. I'm working on it. I probably need to come back for a longer interview on it, but my main thing is, William, is that we're giving our teachers too much. They are not there to rear children. They are there to educate children. And I'm trying to find ways to take pressure off of them where they're teaching English, math, science, and social studies, and to get the rest of this stuff off their table.
I love the direction this is going in. We'll talk about it more later. HB 532 provides relative to fees charged for certain military honor license plates and the processing of plates.
Yeah, the "and" is the most important part. No one is happy with the way the OMV has been running in the last few years. The truth is, they are an understaffed organization. Their manning was cut by half in the Jindal administration. They have an antiquated database, and anytime, if you have an insurance lapse, so they think you have an insurance lapse, try to call them and get them on the phone. Try to find someone who's had a good experience with that. So we had an oversight hearing in the off season. They came in and told us what their problems were, and this is an effort to take some of those calls off of them.
Okay.
This bill really goes to the issue of if you trade a car in or you sell a car, that dealer right now has 30 days to turn that plate in. Well, if you go and turn your insurance off that day, there's a flag that vehicle's not insured.
Yep.
So this forces the next day for the dealers to have to tell the state the next day electronically. So it's going to cut down on hopefully about 15 to 20% of the phone calls into OMV, so they can talk to customers more, so we can be less angry.
And fees.
The other part of that bill is World War II, Korea, Laos, and Vietnam veterans. We're going to make all their plates permanent. Senior citizens should not be having to go to the DMV anymore and try to renew their plates. If you're 70, 80, 90 years old, keep your plate. And that's only about $1,700, but it's a goodwill gesture to our veterans and their families.
I think it's a great idea. I love taking care of our veterans. I'm glad you do too. Let's see, we got H.R. 6 authorizes and directs the Adjutant General of the Louisiana National Guard to determine if application of the current procedure of the Uniform Code of Military Justice may result in a non-unanimous verdict.
Yeah, long story here, but I'll summarize this. In 2018, Louisiana voted to get rid of the non-unanimous jury paradigm. It was a stain on us. It was a vestige from a terrible day, and Louisiana now does not have non-unanimous juries, which I'm very proud of, and we're working on some other things about that. But our National Guard has a judicial system that mirrors the national military justice system, and a non-unanimous jury is still possible there. So this is a question to the Adjutant General of the National Guard. Tell us, is a non-unanimous jury possible? We need it back officially, and then we're going to change the state's Uniform Code of Military Justice to make sure that never happens in Louisiana.
So you're working with the military on this one?
I will. Absolutely, yeah. I do. The Adjutant General's office knows it's coming. They know that if I am reelected, that we will take this off the books next year. But this is just an official question from the House. Tell us, is it possible? Now, the Guard rarely has courts-martials. They just don't. But I don't want it a possibility because Louisiana doesn't need any more stains on its honor.
I like this. This is great. H.R. 7 memorializes Congress to take necessary actions to halt the influx of fentanyl from Mexico and China.
So simply a communication from the state of Louisiana to the Congress of the United States telling them to take action against the sovereign states of Mexico and China who are allowing fentanyl to come in. They are allowing these shenanigans to happen on their turf. They are fomenting it, and they're certainly not stopping it. So this is us asking Congress, do your job, because a nation can stop another station. A nation can stop a nation. We can put tariffs, we can put trade barriers on them, but China and Mexico are responsible for much of our fentanyl problem. And this is the state of Louisiana asking Congress to help us.
It's a proclamation from Louisiana to the federal government to say you do your job. Two more quick questions. Okay. Would you support legislation that would require the representatives in the Senate and the House to update and maintain their pictures to be new and recent pictures on the legislative site?
That would be helpful for some of us.
It would be, because there's some complaints from some people that there's still high school pictures on the
like
site.
12 and 14-year-old pictures really shouldn't be here. We really ought to do it every year.
And then one more quick one. I heard that they're going to make a state sandwich. Would that be the po' boy, or would it be the corn dog?
If you ask me, it would be the oyster po' boy.
Oh, okay, I got you.
You got to
All right.
specify.
Representative Owen, I really thank you very much for your time. I appreciate
It's good to
you.
visit with you.
And everybody else, please share this. If you want somebody else to know what's going on at the Capitol, keep an eye on Representative Owen, because he's really busy doing some good things for his district and the people of Louisiana. Thank you all so much.